Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this Thursday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy. Well, some minor changes developing that could bring a smokier, cloudier solstice weekend to areas of Cook Inlet and the Anchorage Bowl area. Got a marine layer, southwest breezes, could bring some clouds in, usually in a usual atmospheric temperature, usually falls when you go up in elevation, but in an inversion it increases here if the temperature scale is increasing from left to right, and then you reach the top of the inversion and it falls again. So whatever clouds come up on those southwest winds will be kind of trapped here in the lower levels there into the hillside areas, with also whatever smoke happens to make its way in will be trapped in this inversion as well. So this is kind of a worst case scenario forecast for the weekend. What might happen is the easterly winds through turning an arm could keep both the clouds and the smoke from getting any farther north than turning an arm, which would make it a little brighter for Anchorage on the upcoming weekend here. Moving on to fire danger, still quite a few areas of extreme going on here. All of the Tanana Valley up into the central interior, back through the upper Yukon Valley, areas of extreme fire danger back along the Yukon there, and especially the Kuskokwim River Valley, temperatures in the mid-80s there today. And of course the Sitna Valley down in through northern Cook Inlet, northern Kenai Peninsula, still looking at pretty extreme fire danger, with extreme fire danger also of course over the Copper River Basin today, with those north winds 10 to 20 miles per hour at Gulkana, so it's highest and most extreme along the Copper River there. And clouds and rain eliminated the high fire danger that was over the northern southeast coast yesterday. And the forecast for tonight, extreme fire danger out here for the Copper River Basin as well as the Susitna Valley, both due to the breezy conditions there over the Copper River Basin, and for relative humidities dropping down to about 13 to 25%. These are out until 9 p.m. this evening, and the remainder of these extreme fire danger warnings are out through tomorrow evening until actually midnight tomorrow night for the eastern slopes of the eastern Alaska range areas, central and eastern Tanana Valley, upper Tanana Valley 40-mile country, the upper Yukon Valley, even the southeastern slopes of the Brooks Range here, Koyukuk Valley, again extreme fire danger expected there through tomorrow evening, and also the northern Kuskokwim Valley. Denali here seems to be only in the high fire danger, or the very high to very high, either that or it was left out as an oversight. But the western Tanana Valley conditions a little better, and back out to the west and to the north, better conditions as well, just high to very high fire danger in those locations. And moving on to the satellite imagery, here's the next storm system that's probably going to bring small craft advisories and possible gales into the western Aleutians tonight, and then that'll slide over to the central Aleutians with some rain and increase in the winds during the day tomorrow. And then another system back here toward Kamchatka Peninsula. And on the goes west imagery, you can see all the clouds and moisture down here over the southern, or over all of the southeast coast here. Some of that working back in toward the Alaska range to a lesser extent, but rainfall amounts range from about 1/10 of an inch at Juneau to Shelter Cove farther to the south, picking up about 1/3 of an inch. Otherwise, Elfin Cove had about 1/4 of an inch of rain. Those all 24-hour amounts ending at 4 p.m. this afternoon. So precipitation amounts generally 1/10 to, in some cases, 1/3 of an inch or a little bit more, but that cuts off here. A lot of low clouds though up along the North Gulf Coast today, and then some high stuff coming southward here from the interior. Big upper level high now out over the Bering Sea, and the clockwise flow around that bringing some cirrus southward right through this area down in across the Kenai Peninsula areas, and then a band right through here associated with a trough crossing the eastern Arctic coast there. Had an area of thunderstorms develop this afternoon over the Brooks Range between Anatuvik and to the north of Bettles this afternoon, kind of a cluster of thunderstorms there. Otherwise, everything else, some showers and thunderstorms mostly just east of the border there, the Panhandle, and there's a leading edge of the cloud associated with the next system. On the chart today, what shows up is the low clouds, and they're south of the Pribilof. Sunny day here over the St. Paul, St. George area. A lot of sunshine along the southwest coast, Nunivak Island, right up through the Bering Strait. St. Lawrence Island, sunshine. Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, Northwest Valley's all seeing sun today. Then you get into the more cloudy conditions up over the North Slope and the Arctic coast with the showers, and again the scattered thunderstorms occurring there north of Bettles to about Anatuvik, but mostly to the west of Chandelar Lake. And then areas of low clouds and fog along the Arctic coast. That was mostly in around Barrow. They were down to 3 miles earlier in fog with kind of a light west wind condition going on there. And then a band of low clouds and fog here on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula, but the peninsula itself and just to the south saw mostly sunny skies today. That kind of increases out toward the Fox Islands, and a lot of clouds, scattered showers, areas of fog. Shimia down to a half mile today in fog. That front really not affecting the area yet. And then the upper level low here over the southeast coast, bringing the clouds and showers, as I mentioned, rainfall to that entire area there, but clear and dry conditions all the way over into the Yukon. And that's going to continue tonight with the thermal low in over the interior. That'll keep that light southwest breeze going up Cook Inlet. So the low cloud deck will again reform and move back onto the North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound again. Probably staying out of southern Cook Inlet for tonight, but the east side of Kodiak Island should stay in the clear zone there, but the west side, Chillicothe Strait, back to the southwest, pretty good chance of seeing some of that low cloud deck moving into that area and along the Alaska Peninsula here. It looks like some low clouds and fog will be on the increase here over the portions of the Bering Sea, so look for an increase in the chance of seeing some fog and low clouds into the Pribilofs, losing possibly the VFR flying conditions you currently have there, but should stay pretty good here for all of the southwest coast, all the way up into Kotzebue Sound and the Chukchi Sea, and then some low clouds and fog continuing along the Arctic coast, and still some scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms up over the eastern Brooks Range and the North Slope areas, and the forecast for the southeast coast, mostly cloudy with scattered showers just about the entire stretch of the coastline there, but areas of smoke, of course, over the Kenai Peninsula into Cook Inlet. But the rainfall, not quite as much tonight as what you've seen over the last 24 hours, or either tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy conditions there for the southeast coast. General area of upper low pressure persisting over the area there, so scattered showers, again, a possibility anywhere there over the southeast coast. Again, low clouds also right along the coastline there tomorrow, up into Prince William Sound, trying to burn back a little bit, probably not to the extent that it decreased today, but over the south central Alaska, there's a chance of an isolated shower or a thunderstorm developing over the Kenai Peninsula, a chance of scattered thunderstorms over the Talkeetnas, the central western Alaska range, up into the interior of the White Mountains, just scattered isolated activity up here, extending back up to the eastern Brooks Range area. Low clouds and fog continue up along the Arctic coast there, but a lot of sunshine again here over all of the western interior. Temperatures, Kuskokwim Valley up into the Tanana Valley in the lower to mid 80s tomorrow, still rising up to near 80 in the Susitna Valley, especially around Talkeetna. Same thing over in the Copper River Basin. Sunny skies, highs near 80, 75 to 80. Sunshine all the way down into Bristol Bay with temperatures quite warm in the 70s, the lower 80s over the inland areas, even the coastal range warming up into the 70s, but still low clouds and fog here on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. So from about Pilot Point on down to Port Hayden, Nelson Lagoon into Cold Bay, look for mostly cloudy skies, areas of patchy fog, but on the south side, Chignik and Sand Point look pretty good again tomorrow with mostly sunny skies, cloudy areas of fog for the eastern Aleutians, and then this increase in the winds here, southeast, east-southeast, 15 to gust 35 miles per hour, actually 20 gusting 35 miles per hour here coming into the central Aleutians, Adak and Atka, with rain from Atka all the way back out to Shimia. And moving on to the forecast for Saturday, scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, again a possibility here for the Kenai Peninsula, especially along the central and western Alaska range passes and possibly the Talkeetnas as well. Showers possible there over the Wrangell Mountains too, and then that scattered activity, especially mainly over the White Mountains there up to the northeast, but a little farther south now should be mostly sunny day there for the eastern Brooks Range and the North Slope, and still that area of low clouds and fog kind of on the increase now up along the Arctic coast there, probably tomorrow night and into Saturday. So it'll be a little more widespread marginal VFR to IFR up in that area. Otherwise, down here, again, partly to mostly cloudy with scattered showers both tomorrow and Saturday for the Panhandle. Low clouds and fog now possibly getting into Cook Inlet, and again, that'll come on those southwest winds along with whatever smoke happens to get caught up in those. But again, it all depends. If the higher pressure here builds over the Prince William Sound area a little more and stays lower pressure in the Susitna Valley, those east winds through Turnagain Arm will cut both the low clouds and the smoke off and keep it south of the Anchorage area or off to the west. But again, the thunderstorms over the western Alaska Range, Bristol Bay, another sunny, warm day there for Saturday. Good start to the weekend right up across Norton Sound, the Seward Peninsula. Lots of sunshine, warm temperatures there up into the northwest valleys. And this front weakening now, still looking at some small craft advisory winds here from the southeast, up to 25 knots here for the western Alaska Peninsula, mostly over the eastern Aleutian areas, and then a band of rain wrapping back down into the west central Aleutians there with showers behind the front, so scattering out over Adak and Atka, possible clearing there, but don't expect anything too much. Big change is the increase in the low clouds here and fog. They'll probably slip on up into Cook Inlet during the day Saturday, be a little more extensive in over Prince William Sound and the entire North Gulf Coast. Temperatures today down across the Panhandle with all the clouds and showers around, mostly in the mid to upper 50s, although Juneau did push up to 60 this afternoon at 4 p.m. 58 over at Yakutat, 59 in Cordova, Valdez up to 64, 77 in Palmer, 63 down at Kenai, 66 in Homer. They were up to 71 earlier today. 60 degrees over at Seward, down at Kodiak, a nice 73 degrees with sunshine there. Up in the Copper River Basin, again 76 degrees, north winds gusting over 20 miles an hour at Gulkana, 69 at Northway, 10 degrees warmer at Fairbanks with 79, up to 81 in Talkeetna. And McGrath had 81 also, 82 at Tanana, Fairbanks at 79, with a 69-degree reading at 4 o'clock over at Northway, 72 in Eagle, up to 80 in the Koyukuk Valley there at Bettle, 61 at Anatuvik, and thunderstorms right in this area this afternoon with showers extending back to the northeast toward Arctic Village where they had 72. Up along the Arctic coast, there's a 36 at Barrow, but with the fog and low clouds, but less of that. Warmer temperatures, 55 at Dead Horse, 52 at Atsuk, and a 49-degree reading there at Point Lay. Farther to the south, very nice conditions here, 73 at Kivalina and 74 in Kotzebue, 56 though at Nome, 61 at Golovin, same thing at Unalakleet there, and also at Tin City with a cooler 48 at Gamble there on western St. Lawrence Island. Down to the southwest, mostly in the mid-70s here, again from 81 at McGrath to 75 in Sleepmute, 72 at Bethel. Iliamna was 80 degrees at 4 o'clock. They pushed up to 81 since that time, 76 in King Salmon, 75 in Dillingham, with 50s here, again, coolest conditions on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. That's Falls Pass with 49, but Sand Point was up to 51 and 61 at Sand Point. Upper 50s to lower 60s here for the Pribilof Islands, again with sunny skies, northeast winds just 10 to 15 miles per hour out there. Pretty nice day, and mid-40s to mid-50s here over the Aleutians. That's Atka with 46, while Adak had 54, 45 out at Shimia. Looking at lows for tonight in upper 40s to lower 50s for the southeast coast, and then the mild 50s to lower 60s here over the southwest interior, extending right up into the Kuskokwim Valley there. Otherwise, the interior valleys, upper 40s to mid-50s, and upper 30s there for the central Arctic coast. Otherwise, 30s to lower 40s for the North Slope, and upper 40s to mid-50s here for south central Alaska. 40s out over the Aleutians with lower 50s for the Alaska Peninsula. Highs for tomorrow, a lot of 80s again, almost right down to the southwest coast there. Mid to upper 70s there for northern Bristol Bay, and the mid-80s up in toward McGrath and Nikolai again. Central Tanana Valley, Fairbanks forecasting a high tomorrow of 85 degrees, about the same over at Eagle, and 80-degree weather up into the upper Yukon and Koyukuk valleys with Bettles forecast at 81, 66 Anatuvik, upper 40s to lower 50s for the Arctic coast, and along the southeast coast, upper 50s to lower 60s, a little bit warmer than today. And for flying weather, again, isolated thunderstorms here over the western Alaska Range, possibly the Talkeetna Mountains, and even a slight chance over the Kenai Peninsula tomorrow afternoon. Late in the day, IFR here continuing on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians. A lot of IFR now forecast to get into the Pribilof Islands, extend all the way back to the western and central Aleutians, covering much of the Bering Sea. Marginal VFR with areas of IFR now increasing along the eastern and central Arctic coast. It's already going on in Barrow. That'll continue on and get a little bit worse there on the east side tonight with marginal VFR right along the coastline here tomorrow afternoon. Probably burning out of Prince William Sound, possibly, and then along the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula. Shelikof Strait, marginal VFR, but again, over Kodiak Island and just to the east and northeast, it should remain VFR. Passes looking like this. Anatuvik, VFR flying conditions tomorrow. And for Adigan as well, VFR for the Brooks Range, but there's a risk of a thunderstorm both for Lake Clark and Merrill Pass with same forecast for rainy, VFR, slight chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. And for windy, VFR flying, slight chance of a thunderstorm. Isabel, though, probably thunderstorm free with VFR flying there. Both Isabel and Mentasta looking good. Tanita, VFR. Portage, marginal VFR again, the low clouds getting up into Prince William Sound. May come down Passage Canal and make the east side a little lower. And for Chilkoot and White, optimistically VFR. Freezing levels, 12,000 feet here. The upper level high center now back out over the Bering Sea, and that's where the warmest air aloft is. A little cooler aloft conditions here, and that leading to some instability over the south central Alaska along the Alaska Range area, leading to a little bit better risk of some showers and thunderstorm activity over the next couple of days, and about 8,000 feet over the Panhandle, and then 8 to 10,000 feet out over the southwest Aleutians. And with that frontal system moving in, look for some moderate rime icing to advance from the western Aleutians later tonight and edge its way eastward to about Atka tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise icing free just about everywhere else except over here where there's some possibility of some showers there over the southern southeast coast. Upper level wind flow chart, northerly winds aloft 25 knots here, the main jet well to the south, and there's that upper level low that's keeping it unsettled and cool over the Panhandle. 9,000 foot wind, southeasterlies 25 to 50 knots. That's the strongest winds in the state tomorrow out that way. A little lighter, more variable in over the interior, both at 9 and 3,000 feet. You can see quite light variable winds over the mainland. Southeasterlies 25 to 40 knots back out over the western central Aleutians. And southwesterlies 20 to 25 up along the western Arctic coast. There could be some light to isolated moderate chop from about Barrow there all the way back to Point Hope, Cape Lisburne and those areas, but smooth through all of the interior down to the Gulf of Alaska, smooth across the Panhandle. And got to get out here to the central Aleutians to get any more turbulence of the moderate variety from about Atka back to Shimya and Attu. And after the break of hangar flying, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
What a lineup! Hey there, stargazers. I'm Dean Regas, astronomer for the Cincinnati Observatory.
And I'm James Alberry, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida. We're here to help you find your way around the sky tonight. So, Dean, are you excited?
I'm very excited. Wait, what am I excited about?
The planetary alignment we've been talking about for months between Jupiter and Venus.
Oh yeah, on June 30th. It's almost here.
Yes, and before that, to get even more excited, the moon will join the dance and pass by Venus, Jupiter, and the bright star Regulus.
A moon, star, and planets line up? I'll be honest, I was just pretending to be excited before, but now, let's see it.
Okay, we have our sky set up for Sunday, June 21st at 9 p.m. facing west. The sun is about to set, but you can just make out the waxing crescent moon hanging in the southwestern sky.
As we run time forward, we can make the sun set. Then the brightest stars will begin to pop out. There's Venus, the brightest star-like object in the sky, often called the evening star, since for months at a time you can see it right after the sun sets in the west. Wish I may, wish I might, first star I see tonight is really a planet.
Venus is so incredibly bright in our sky because 1, it's a planet almost 8,000 miles across. 2, it's relatively close to us at about 55 million miles. And 3, it's covered in highly reflective clouds that bounce the sunlight back to us.
As the sun sets further and the sky gets darker, the next star that will pop into view is not a star either. I'll give you some hints. It's the 5th planet from the sun, the largest planet in the solar system, and rhymes with Moopiter.
Wow, good hints, Dean. I think they figured out that this is the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is a gas giant planet 88,000 miles in diameter. That means you could fit 11 Earths across its equator.
Jupiter is mainly made of hydrogen and helium gases, so there is no land to stand on when you visit. But above the cloud tops of Jupiter, you'd have an amazing view of its 4 largest moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto.
You can see Jupiter and the 4 moons from Earth as well when you look through any quality telescope.
Once we advance time to about 10:30 p.m. or so, the sky has gotten dark enough to see more of the stars in the sky. The brightest star in the west at this time of night and this time of year is called Regulus.
Regulus is the brightest star in the constellation of Leo the Lion. It marks the heart of the lion and shines with a bright blue-white light.
Here's the deal with Regulus. It's about 77 light years away, 3.8 times more massive than our sun, and about 3 times as wide. Despite its size, Regulus spins incredibly fast, making one complete turn in less than 16 hours.
Astronomers believe that there's a white dwarf star very close to Regulus, which orbits every 40 hours. Regulus's speedy rotation rate, combined with the tug from the little star, has made Regulus look decidedly squished. Instead of a sphere, Regulus looks more like an M&M.
So there is our lineup for next week. Venus, Jupiter, Regulus, and the moon. Of course, the moon will only be there temporarily, and as the days go on, the planets will wander.
By June 26th, Venus and Jupiter will be appearing really close together, and Regulus will be gaining on them as well.
And then on the evening of the 30th, right after dark, you'll see Venus and Jupiter so close together that they may be hard to separate.
Into July, the threesome will only be visible lower in the sky, and Venus will move to the middle.
And way in the future, on July 18th, the moon returns to this part of the sky and seems to skim right by Venus. Another lineup with a different order about a month from now.
So start getting excited for the great Venus-Jupiter conjunction on June 30th.
You can get a preview of the coming attraction just after sunset this week when Venus, Jupiter, Regulus, and the moon will all line up. Keep looking up.
Well, today's sea ice analysis shows the ice edge lying pretty much east-west here from about Wainwright on back to the west, and the retreat of that's going to slow down over the next, or has slowed down due to lighter, more southwest winds now, but still expected to retreat and melt back to the north 10 to 15 knots by late Monday. And on to the marine forecast, light west-southwest breezes here along the southeast coast, but up to 20 knots from the south for Lynn Canal and Glacier Bay. And for northern Lynn Canal on Saturday, south winds 25 knots, seas at about 5 feet, southerlies at 15 there for Stevens Passage, and then lighter northwest winds for Clarence Strait, northwest 15 here on the south coast, westerlies at 10 on the north coast. Prince William Sound and the North Gulf Coast, all light variable winds tomorrow at 10 knots with seas running 2 to 4 feet. Southeast 15 for the Barren Islands. Southwesterlies 10 to 20 knots across Kodiak Island, strongest here in the eastern marine zones. South 15 for Kamishak Bay. Southwesterlies 15 to 20 knots with the 20-knot winds south of the Forelands. And then for Saturday, light variable winds all around Kodiak Island here, Kamishak Bay down through Shelikof Strait. All of the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, light variable winds, seas only 2 to 3 feet, and southwesterlies in Cook Inlet about 15 knots with 4-foot seas. And out to the west there for Bristol Bay, southwesterlies of 15 tomorrow, light variable winds here along the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula, west-southwesterlies at 10 knots on the Pacific side. And again, with that front advancing eastward, weakening, but still could kick off some 25-knot winds here on the Pacific side of the Alaska Peninsula, otherwise southeast to 20. Light variable winds southwest of Kodiak Island. Out in the Aleutians, light variable winds here pretty much for the Fox Islands, but small craft advisories, possible gales here south of Adak and Atka tomorrow afternoon from the east and east-southeast, but easterly small craft advisory extending all the way out to Shemya for tomorrow. And then for Saturday, north to northeast here, 25 knots. Good for small craft advisories there for Saturday. Lighter here for Adak and Atka, southeast, 15 to 20. Small craft advisories now for the Fox Islands, southeasterlies, 25 to 30 knots. Up along the southwest coast, northwesterlies at 15 knots tomorrow under high pressure, light variable winds for the Pribilofs and much of the Bering Sea. And that takes hold over the northern Bering Sea, all light variable winds, St. Lawrence Island down to Nunivak Island across the northern Bering, but the Pribilofs easterlies increasing to 20 knots with seas building to 5 feet. Up along the Arctic coast there, along the eastern stretch, westerly winds 5 to 10 knots, but southwesterlies at about 20 knots here from the central coast. That extends all the way back down to Cape Beaufort, and then from Wales to Cape Beaufort, it looks like southwest breezes only at about 10 knots, with seas running 2 to 4 feet. And then the outlook for Saturday, westerly winds here along much of the Arctic coast at about 20 knots, a little more southwest here as you get over toward Demarcation Point, but still holding at about 20 knots, so pretty status quo stationary wind pattern developing here, and then lighter southwest winds again from Wales to Cape Beaufort, southwest 10 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. And looking at tonight again, areas of smoke, northern Cook Inlet, the Kenai Peninsula, scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, central and eastern Brooks Range areas of low clouds and fog along the Arctic coast. Otherwise dry and relatively light winds here through interior Alaska. Scattered showers, mostly cloudy skies for the southeast coast, and then that front bringing the small craft advisories, possible gale force winds in toward the central Aleutians tomorrow with rain, and then scattered thunderstorms and showers here over south central Alaska, mainly along the Alaska Range and Talkeetnas, with a lesser threat over the Kenai Peninsula, both for tomorrow and Saturday in these areas. And the southeast coast holds on to clouds and a risk of some showers right into the first start of the weekend. Have a great night.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Coming up next on 360 North.
When I'm an elder, I want to see my language alive and spoken.